England's cricketers are frequent visitors to the Caribbean, but for English football, this is new territory. Welcome to Port of Spain, as England's first ever visit to the Caribbean brings us to the Hazley Crawford Stadium and an international friendly against Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to our coverage on ESPN. I'm Adrian Healy. I've got former Trinidad keeper Shaka Hislop and former Premier League star Robbie Mustoe alongside me for commentary. Start with you, Shaka. A big night tonight for the Soca Warriors.
It certainly is. It's what's been labelled as the game of the century, a score to settle. It means a lot to fans and players alike.
As the Trinidadian president in his introduction to the players, Robbie, England will be at home in their summer holidays where a lot of these sides play in Euro 2008.
Yeah, it's still a big disappointment, isn't it, that England didn't make the Euros. But I suppose for our top players, it's the first summer off they've had for a long, long time. Let's hope they can recharge their batteries, ready for the World Cup qualifying campaign.
Some of the other friendly results. A warm-up win for the Netherlands against Wales, 2-0. The margin of victory, 1-1 for Poland against Denmark. Sweden going down to defeat. For England, it was victory against the United States at Wembley on Wednesday, and it was that man, David Beckham, setting up the first, Shaka.
That's right, and what a head it was by this man, John Terry. A disappointing week for him, capped with a fantastic goal.
And then what about this, Robbie? Gareth Barry's first pass out of midfield.
Superb, great weight, direction, well finished by Steven Gerrard. Great move that was. That's probably 15 passes that led up to that goal. It's a great goal.
Comfortable victory in the end for England against the United States. A big evening in store in the Port of Spain. We'll bring you all the team news and take you through to the first half kickoff when we return right here on ESPN. Welcome back. This is the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain, a capital city of Trinidad and Tobago, where England visits, and they're here in the Caribbean for the very first time in the nation's history tonight. And it is a centenary they're celebrating, Trinidad and Tobago reaching that mark. And this is the lineup put out by Francisco Maturana. Shaka, what's your take on this starting 11?
It's a pretty good starting lineup. Interested to see number 4, Macan Hislop, making another start.
Familiar name, Shaka?
Familiar name.
A cousin of yours, I believe.
That's right. It's good to see him there, but it is a pretty strong lineup for Trinidad and Tobago.
And Robbie, for England, Fabio Capello, we thought might take some chances and experiment a little, but the only debut he's handed to is Dean Ashton.
Yeah, I think he's deserved it. He had a great season with West Ham. He had a chance before, but missed out through injury, so it's going to be a big, big night for him. Steven Gerrard playing more centrally for tonight's game as well. David Beckham again on the right-hand side, and the captain as well tonight. So, yeah, maybe not as many looks at new players as what we thought.
Yes, David Beckham handed the captain's armband for the 59th time. And who would have thought that was ever going to be the case again following World Cup of 2006. And we are underway with England in the red, going from right to left in the first half. Trinidad wearing a special all-white strip tonight, Shaka, and a special message on those shirts as well.
That's right. It's a strip we favour, actually, normally away from home. We normally play at home in red. But I guess to mark the occasion, we decided to go at white at home, and certainly the crowd has responded.
England playing their 4th game under Fabio Capello. 2 victories and that defeat to France for the Italians so far. Last game before the summer break for England. Certainly not the case for Trinidad, who are really using this game as part of the build-up to World Cup qualifiers, Shaka, and coach Francisco Maturana has been quite vocal about that. It's just part of that process.
Of course it is, and rightly so. World Cup qualifiers for us start in 2 weeks' time at home to Bermuda on the 15th, and it's where the serious stuff gets going for Trinidad and Tobago.
This is Steven Gerrard linking with Jermaine Defoe. Tracking back there, Ansil Faria.
Just trying to see the surface there, Adrian, what kind of surf it is. It's a great ball in from Beckham.
Good clearance away by Cupid as well. Shaka, I know you've got experience of this surface. Is it going to play a part tonight?
I hope not. A lot was made about this surface beforehand, and the England team, as were the TTFF, were promised a an impeccable pitch. I think the brown patches that we see are inevitable given the climate in Trinidad. I do think it will play fairly smoothly. It will be very true as well.
So not too many eyebrow-raising selections from either manager. Can tell you that Dwight York is here and is available tonight on the bench. He flown in just a couple of days ago. This is the first attack for Trinidad. Carlos Edwards looking lively. He's one of 5 Trinidadian starters who ply their trade in England. He plays with Sunderland.
He's going to play on the right-hand side of midfield. Dangerous player, good pace. Just looked inside to come inside for a shot there. Got blocked out there by the England defenders.
Defoe doing well to find Downing, whose cross looked menacing. Gerrard trying to pick up the pieces on the edge of the area, and then he's fouled. This will be a free kick for England. Dean Ashton winning his first cap. David Beckham winning his 102nd. Grabbing all the headlines again, Robbie, with his return to the captaincy.
Yeah, I know that Capello's talked about sharing it out a little bit, and he's actually going to decide, isn't he, after this game, ready for the next friendly match against the Czech Republic, who's going to be the permanent captain. I'll be very surprised if it is David Beckham, but it's obviously good for him, again, to put that armband on.
Oh, an early chance to make a mark in this encounter. It's almost a perfect angle for the right foot of Beckham. It's a 6-man wall here. Beckham right into that wall, though. The towering Dennis Lawrence, I think, made the contact. In fact, there was a casualty left on the ground. It was Stern John.
Looked like he got hit with this Beckham free kick. Left him grounded for a bit.
Look at the 27,000 capacity here at the Hazley Crawford as another English attempt unfolds with Dean Ashton too high.
I think hopefully what Dean Ashton's going to give England is a good target. He's a very good target man. He's got a very nice touch on the ball for, you know, a big guy. Can score goals, but equally creates goals for others. And it's going to be a great opportunity for him this match tonight to show Capello what he can do up there. Because really, I think Rooney will probably be the first choice striker, and we do look like we need somebody else to play up there with. It's going to be, whether it could be Michael Owen or Jermaine Defoe, who also is playing tonight. I think Capello's not sure yet.
Shaka, I know you played with Dean Ashton at West Ham, and he's really battled his way back into contention, hasn't he?
He certainly has. He was right on the verge of making his start with the England squad.
Oh, it's a decent cross, and Defoe was right there on the doorstep, couldn't make meaningful contact. Jermaine Defoe starting his 2nd consecutive game. Mixed reviews for him in the performance against the United States, but a very different sort of strike partner tonight for Defoe in Dean Ashton. He was playing with Rooney on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think with Rooney coming deeper, he's more up front on his own. I think tonight he's certainly going to have a real strike partner. They're going to work as a pair, fairly high together. And really, what a good chance that was from a wonderful cross in from David Beckham.
Talking of working as a pair, it's Kenwyne Jones and Stern John, the J team, if you will, up front for Trinidad, but denied the service there as the free kick broke down. Now it's Wayne Bridge who leads England forward again. Gareth Barry. Defoe trying to let the ball do the work.
But he's got to get a shout there, hasn't he, from Dean Ashton? He can't just let it go hoping that his partner's going to be there. That's the sort of thing they're going to try and get the understanding.
Oh, David James has come a long way, and Kenwyne Jones is left in a crumpled heap, the two colliding.
That'll be a big concern for Kenwyne Jones for Sunderland. He was deemed fit only a few days ago and only started full training with the Trinidad squad 3 or 4 days ago. Not a good sign.
Oh, it really was the archetypal 50-50 ball, wasn't it? James just got there first.
I was going to say, do you think he should have come out so quickly? And I mean, Jones did look like he was in. He only just got there, didn't he?
I think there seemed to be a little bit of a miscommunication between Rio and David James, whether Rio was going to play, whether David would come. David was committed. I don't think any blame can go to either party. As a goalkeeper, that's what you're supposed to do, regardless of the occasion. Still unfortunate to see a player left in a heap as Kenwyn has been here.
As you mentioned, he injured his wrist, actually, in the last game of the season against Arsenal for Sunderland, and only just made it back in time. This looks a very different sort of injury. This will be a huge blow for the Soca Warriors. Kenwyn Jones, voted Sunderland's Player of the Year, 7 goals and another 10 assists for the Weirsiders this year.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Been one of the best players, I think, and other players have recognised him, saying, I think, was it I think Rio Ferdinand or John Terry saying he was the best header of the ball in the Premiership as a striker. Scored goals and done very well. That's a big worry, I'm sure, for Roy Keane right now. Hopefully he's not hurt too badly, but on the replay there, it certainly looked like a real tough challenge from David James.
As well, keep in mind, we were just talking about World Cup qualifiers starting for Trinidad and Tobago in 2 weeks' time.
It's Glenn Johnson swinging in the cross deep. Stuart Downing was lurking there, managed to keep it in play, but nothing productive resulted from it for England.
This Trinidad team have started, they defend very deeply. What they're doing incorrectly, if you ask me, is as the game plays, they continue to drop closer and closer to the goalkeeper, making those crosses all the more dangerous.
Gareth Barry forced to backpedal for now. Downing is his outlet. Well, the only other out-and-out forward that Trinidad have available today is Darryl Roberts, who wears number 10, I believe. He's starting to warm up.
We saw Darryl just there warming up. We also saw Kenwyn back on his feet, which is a good sign. Whether he plays a part or not, it's a good sign that he's back on his feet for everybody concerned.
Trinidad coming to this game actually on the back of a 9-game unbeaten run, dating back to last October. Crowd warming to the footwork of Carlos Edwards. Keon Daniel. Ten minutes gone in Port of Spain. Trinidad and Tobago 0, England 0. Just one previous meeting between the two nations, and that was a memorable one. It came in Nuremberg in the World Cup 2 years ago. And Shaka, you were part of that side. Came so close to upsetting the apple cart, just 7 minutes away from getting a draw against England.
Yes, so near and yet so far. In the end, 2-0. A bit of a bitter pill to swallow after he played so well, as you say, for 83 minutes.
Peter Crouch eventually nodding England in front. Stephen Gerrard putting the icing on the cake in stoppage time.
Crouch doing so illegally, if you ask me.
I would be interested to get Robbie's take on how illegal that jump was, but...
Well, I thought it was perfectly legal. It was a great jump. He's a big guy, you know. He just looks like he's the sort of player that just looks like he fouls every time he jumps, because he jumps so high and he's got these big long arms. It's just going to wrap around a defender sometimes
and grab his hair.
Wasn't it Dennis Lawrence he out-jumped as well? That takes some doing.
No, it was Brent Sancho. Brent Sancho,
yes. That's right. Yeah. This is Gerrard. Little dinked ball from Barry, and Bridges in there, and England are in front. And it's Gareth Barry who's done it. His first goal for his country. And things just get better and better for Gareth Barry in terms of his England career.
Well, it's great play again down this left-hand side. That's twice now that Kern Cupid has been caught out at right back for Trinidad and Tobago. It's caught out with the ball over the top, crossed in, and a great run from midfield. That's where he gets in behind here. Just clips it into the danger area. Gareth Barry arriving at the right pace, the right time. Makes no mistake.
Again, for me, though, the Trinidad and Tobago team are playing way too deep. Here we see just a little dink over Downing. And Barry just has all the time. It's a good finish in the end.
Well, Gareth Barry had his best goal-scoring season in a long time this year for Aston Villa. He scored 5 goals, but 4 of them was in the penalty spot. Now he has his very first for the national team. Steven Gerrard has been very vocal, Robbie, saying that Gareth Barry is his preferred midfield partner, wants him to come and play with him at Liverpool too.
Which I can understand he wants that, but whether he should go out and say that, I don't necessarily think that's the right thing to do. He's contracted to Aston Villa. I'm sure he's upset the Villa coach and all the fans. I mean, it's I don't know. I just think it stirs the pot a little bit. But I think that the thought of those two together in the Liverpool midfield would be very, very good for Liverpool.
And probably for England. I thought they played very well against the US together. Looked far more effective than the Gerrard-Lampard partnership.
This is Barry finding Downing. Downing working on Maka and Hislop. A throw beyond Cupid, and all of a sudden it almost opened up again. Defoe. The layoff for Gerrard, who had to hurry his efforts.
Again, far too easily for me. Far too easily.
The TNT substitutes tonight, including Dwight York. Not sure what sort of shape he's in, Shaka. Maybe you could enlighten us as to that.
He is in good shape. He finished off the season with Sunderland, actually played 90 minutes of their final game and did very well.
Long ball forward from Wayne Bridge, and Jermaine Defoe's on the end of it. Clayton Ince hauling it in.
Well, it hasn't got to be too intricate, has it, from England? Any ball that's put in behind the defenders is getting success, and Trinidad and Tobago need to just get a little bit tighter with the wide players, particularly on this left-hand side. Stuart Downing and the overlapping Wayne Bridge are having some real joy.
Only the 3rd time that England have ever played Caribbean opposition. 1 game against Jamaica. This is Defoe, who's through again. Jermaine Defoe for England, and it's 2-0. Well, they're really making the most of the gaps in the Trinidadian defence, particularly on this near side.
Kern Cupid again caught out, being too wide, too deep. Jermaine Defoe just drifts into the hole.
It really is very simple, isn't it? Straight ball right through the middle. He actually took a bad touch before his strike, but he recovered very well. We just look at this is approaching goal here. Just takes a bit of a bad touch there onto the left-hand side, but makes amends for it very well. But so much space right through the heart of the defence.
Cupid and Maka and Hislop not being in touch with each other.
Well, not the start to proceedings that most of this 27,000 crowd were hoping for. Carlos Edwards, the throw, trying to ignite something for Trinidad. Jermaine Defoe has reignited his career with that move to the south coast. Fine second half of the campaign with Portsmouth, and it's been rewarded. Fabio Capello bringing him back into the England fold.
Yeah, and I think he deserves to be. What he is, Jermaine Defoe, he's a real finisher, a real poacher, scores all different sorts of goals. You just saw there, didn't have a great touch, but managed to put it in the back of the net, the all-important factor. He's very keen, he's very energetic. I like the look of Jermaine Defoe.
A look at the English bench in 2 parts. Ashley Young and Gabriel Agbon-Lahore, 2 young players from Aston Villa, hoping for a chance later on. This is Dean Ashton trying to make the most of his chance. No way round Hislop this time. handball against Stern John.
I was just thinking it's probably the first time we've seen Stern John involved.
This is the build-up to the goal. All looked so simple, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I think actually it was Dennis Lawrence on the far side that was deeper than the other defenders, which allowed Defoe's run to be onside and went right through on goal. But I think Trinidad and Tobago just struggling at the moment, apart from the defensive side of things, just to get their attacking game going. They haven't really got the forwards, as we just mentioned, into the game at all. Carlos Edwards has had a couple of runs from the right-hand side, but in general, England dominated the possession.
I think obviously losing Kenwyne Jones, though, is a big blow to Trinidad and Tobago. Stern John normally feeds off of Kenwyne's running, shall we say. But with Kenwyne having to go off after about 4 minutes, Stern has struggled to get himself into the game.
There's more worry for Trinidad here as David Beckham delivers the corner. And dealt with very effectively at the near post. And now chance to relieve the pressure and try and make some inroads themselves for the home side. Referee tonight, by the way, Enrico Vingard from Suriname. And under the foot of Stern John, and the move broke down, but Trinidad get it back quickly in the shape of Keon Daniel. Daniel again, the touch. Farrier for joining the attack. And now Otis Whitley, national team captain. Trinidad and Tobago with 5 players in the starting lineup tonight who played in that World Cup game 2 summers ago. Whitley, the only one of those who doesn't ply his trade in English football. He's never left Trinidad, Shaka, Otis Whitley, the national team captain.
No, he hasn't. A very talented player who just didn't seem to want to make the step up. He certainly has had a very successful career on our own shows.
Getting involved in the build-up. In steps Dennis Lawrence. Glenn Johnson, one of his first touches of the ball. Unable to pick up the return pass from Ashton, though. Now Carlos Edwards. He's pacey, he's nippy and tricky. Sunderland winger. Darryl Roberts helping it on to Ferrier. From Woodgate it was who got his head on the cross.
He's a good player as well. Out of defence there from Stuart Downing. Good vision to find Gareth Barry. No pressure on him in midfield. England are allowed to pass their way out of trouble. It's better though, the last few minutes from Trinidad and Tobago, the home side. Getting their passing game going a little bit. Get the fans involved in the game.
Now Ashton has won that particular duel against Lawrence, but he's isolated out on the far side. Beckham coming to his assistance. Ashton trying to let it go, hoping that Jermaine Defoe was in the vicinity. It falls to Clayton Ince. Trinidad goalkeeper Clayton Ince reuniting with Dean Ashton today. The two of them were together at Crewe for several seasons.
Ashton was actually a young schoolboy or first-year pro coming through the ranks at Crewe when Ince was between his sticks for them.
Ince, who now plays for Walsall at League One, and ever present for them this year. Only missed 1 game last year. So we have a good look at Francisco Maturana, the Colombian head coach of Trinidad, a man who comes with an impressive resume, Shaka. Back to that point, because Defoe is making inroads, but Maturana, 4 different spells as Colombia national team boss, including leading him to the World Cup in 1994. Interesting appointment for Trinidad.
It certainly was, as they looked to replace Leo Benaka, who of course moved on to Poland. But Trinidad and Tobago would certainly have their sights set on 2010 qualification and needed somebody with a sizable reputation to take them all the way.
He's also had spells in charge of Ecuador, Costa Rica and Peru, as well as numerous club sides.
I think his future will depend on how they get on with qualification.
And there is Dwight York. But I'm sure Maturana, to answer Robbie's question, Shaka, is all about getting Trinidad back to the promised land as Defoe unleashes a shot and wasn't really able to test Ince.
Straight down the throat of Clayton Ince, but like Robbie was saying, I certainly do feel so much is riding on qualification. It's not going to be an easy job, though. Getting through Bermuda, we hope, will be pretty straightforward. But from there, we go into a group of 4, which kind of looks like it's going to be the USA, Guatemala, and Haiti. Which won't be, and 2 out of that 4 would come. Won't be an easy ride at all.
That's that home and away series against Bermuda, which is most immediately on the horizon for Trinidad. That begins on the 15th of June. And another friendly against Jamaica to play before then. It's next weekend. As for England, Robbie, it's all about the build-up to World Cup qualification for them, which begins in September.
Yeah, that's right. It's the last game of this season. The players will take their holiday time, get away, recharge your batteries. Another friendly game, the last one before the qualifiers in August, 20th of August against the Czech Republic. And then, as you said, the qualifiers begin. September the 6th versus Andorra away is the first game. So that's really when the focus will be on Capello and how things have gone with these friendlies. And it'll start to get judged a lot more when those real serious games begin in September.
How much do you think Fabio Capello has learned so far in 3.5 friendlies in charge of England? Well, I'll come back to that because Barry is in the overlap. Cross beyond Ashton. Beckham in retrieval mode. Back it goes to Glenn Johnson. Now the attack breaks down. Crowd urging Carlos Edwards to turn on the Jets. He's kept possession neatly. Ireland helping it on. Thought about having a shot. In fact, what he has done is win a free kick for Trinidad.
He's looked pretty good in there, Highland. Skillful. Good skill there, beating his opponent in midfield. He's used the ball well so far in the game. Just starting to be a little bit more influential now, the midfield players in there for Trinidad and Tobago.
He's only 18, Shaka. Kaleem Highland, who wears number 8. I know he's very highly regarded.
He certainly is. Certainly has settled down well after the first 15 or 20 minutes. The whole Trinidad team have seemed to come to terms a little bit better with the occasion. Just starting to come into their own. Play with a lot more confidence, we saw there by Highland.
Daniel and Edwards standing over this. It's Carlos Edwards, flicked off the top of the wall. That will provide Trinidad with their first corner of the game.
He's just turning his back there, just getting the deflection for the corner. Good power on the shot, though.
Now, who's going to mark Dennis Lawrence is the question. Well, no need to, because all on the ground, but it's bobbled England's way. It could so easily have turned into a genuine opportunity. Not perhaps what we were expecting from the corner.
No, we didn't. All eyes were probably on Dennis Lawrence.
Meanwhile, Rio Ferdinand is down and in some degree of discomfort, it appears.
Certainly looked dangerous, didn't it? It wasn't really dealt with. This flick inside Ferdinand stretching there, just getting caught maybe on the back of the knee there, the left side.
A little back heel from Makan Hislop. Well, he
just seemed to overrun the initial corner. Then it was Darryl Roberts catching Rio Ferdinand awkwardly.
Rio Ferdinand was the exception to the rule. Fabio Capello giving most of the Manchester United and Chelsea players the break on this particular trip. Ferdinand and Wayne Bridge, the only players he asked to be the exception. Let's come back to that point I brought up, Robbie, a couple of minutes ago. What has Fabio Capello learnt so far? Looking forward to September. He's had 3 friendlies. I think he's got an idea of the sort of side that he might be putting out.
I think so. I think he'll be getting a real feel for the players now, both of what they can do on the field and off the field. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to be the captain? A system of play. He's looked at different systems. One striker, Rooney, up there on his own. Rooney in a wider position. 2 strikers together with Rooney just in behind another striker, which I particularly like.
Just the fact he hasn't experimented as much as he might have done in these 2 friendlies against the US and Trinidad, certainly in terms of starting lineup. What does that tell you?
Well, I just think it's not that many games before the qualifiers start, so he's got to really start to pin down his best team and this system. So I don't think you can experiment too much with players that he doesn't feel is going to be there or thereabouts in the team. He's got to get those players organised, get used to playing in his particular system and style, and take it from there.
Well, taking it to England at the moment. And Trinidad, they've earned themselves another promising set-piece situation, and Steven Gerrard appears to have earned himself a booking.
Again, it was the ever-growing in confidence Kaleem Highland, all of 18 years old, taking on Liverpool's captain. Fantastic here. Nice piece of skill, which the crowd certainly appreciate.
And here's the resulting free kick. Jonathan Woodgate rising to meet it. There was some pushing and shoving, a few elbows flying in there.
For me, the big questions that Capello still needs to find answers for is who plays up front with Rooney. I think everywhere else you look around the team, you kind of have an idea as to who will play. I think the questions in midfield would be, would it be Barry or Lampard partnering Gerrard? But still, I think the biggest question mark is, how does he go up front? He went with both Defoe and Crouch against the USA. But again, I don't think either of them provided too many answers.
It's also the David Beckham thing, isn't there? Whether he's going to stick with David Beckham on that right-hand side, whether he feels anybody else that can do a better job, Bentley, or maybe another option. But there still are a few questions. You're right, Shaka. And also with Gerrard, where's he going to play? Like this, going through the middle? Well, I actually think is his best position. But then he can play Frank Lampard in there and play Gerrard to the left. So there is a few more questions, and I'm sure you've got to think in the Czech Republic game, he's got to be getting very, very close to his starting lineup in that first Andorra game.
Long ball towards Carlos Edwards. David James was quick to react to. New England pressing on with Wayne Bridge. Set up their first goal here tonight. Gareth Barry. And Jermaine Defoe quickly adding a second.
I think as well it's probably going to help these last 10-11 days where the England squad have been together with Capello, trained every day just to try and get his tactical ideas across. That's what frustrates him, what you think, after club management of not having the players for very long.
Oh, Gareth Barry has won the ball in a threatening position, but recovery was made and Highland comes away with it. There's a let-off there for Trinidad. The problem of how to get the best out of Wayne Rooney is a conundrum that's eluded Sven-Göran Eriksson and Steve McLaren prior to Fabio Capello. It's going to be fascinating to see if Fabio Capello can solve the riddle.
Just haven't found the right strike partner for Wayne Rooney. Again, against USA, he went with Defoe to start with, played Crouch for 25 minutes. Neither of which I think did themselves no harm, but certainly no real good.
More good work from Farrier. And Carlos Edwards, the shot arriving. Nothing really to trouble David James there from Darryl Roberts. His first effort on goal.
Good skill it was by Otis Whitley. Stern John providing the link-up. Ball eventually falls with Darryl Roberts.
What can you tell us about Darryl Roberts, Shaka? He wasn't part of the World Cup squad in 2006. He's been playing in Holland with Sparta Rotterdam.
He certainly has emerged on the international scene post-World Cup of 2006.
A little dink over the top to Defoe. And a shot from very close range. After he pushed it up into the air, had to wait for it to come down. And then couldn't keep it down.
Good recovery by Cupid to at least put him under pressure. But again, Defoe in far too much room, far too deep in the box.
See, normally with them playing so deep, you wouldn't expect them to get in behind because they're so far back and near to Clayton Ince, but they are getting in behind with that long ball just lofted over the top of the defenders.
Here's David Beckham. Hasn't been that involved so far, England captain. Roberts was impeded. It was Stern John who was brought down by Jonathan Woodgate. Quickly taken free kick. Carlos Edwards. Much improved Trinidad display over the last 15 minutes or so. Keon Daniel on the far side has played his part. Another one of the young breed brought in by Francisco Maturana. Downing, it's found a way through to Defoe again. Cupid perhaps at fault. A little touch from him though. And it results in an England corner. Fabio Capello with reasons to be cheerful.
The cheerful or astonished. I'll join him with that. See, Clayton is having a long talk with Macan Hislop about his positioning, which has been a worry. Has been a worry for both centre-halves, in particular Dennis Lawrence, surprisingly.
Now then, what can Beckham produce from the corner? Barry waiting for Beckham to move in field. Johnson is the target. Not enough on it. Better away from Keon Daniel. Now Beckham involved again. Dennis Lawrence winning the header. Almost playing with fire at the back there, Carlos Edwards.
Well, they refuse to hit the ball long. They're still trying to play out from the back, which is very brave or stupid, depending how you look at it. Gives the England opportunity to attack in a really good advanced area when they win the ball back up there.
Stern John prepared to give chase against Jonathan Woodgate. They both started the season up in the northeast of England. Stern John and Jonathan Woodgate both moving on. Fresher pastures, and for Stern John, Shaqiri moved out of the Premier League, back down into the Championship, and had a fantastic season with Southampton.
He certainly did, and capped it on the last day of the season, scoring 2 to keep Southampton in the Championship. Along the way, earning the Southampton Players' Player of the Year.
England settling into midfield possession again with Gerrard.
In the home side, you know, they're getting behind the ball okay, have a reasonable shape in the midfield. Again, there's that run in behind the centre back, and again, full back in Cupid. Great ball.
Well, Dean Ashton was in behind there, and well, he had to take it on the volley mid-air, but probably be a little disappointed he didn't latch on to this.
Having another look at Darryl Roberts' effort, easily saved by David James.
Edwards' cross was behind Stern John.
For me, what's happening is the Trinidad and Tobago team are defending so deeply. There are huge gaps between the defence and midfield. And in the end, the centre halves and wing backs alike don't know if to expect the ball in behind or the ball short into feet. And 9 times out of 10 are caught in no man's land. If you're defending deep, everybody has to drop off, and I think that's where the mistakes are coming from.
Well, this is Edwards trying to force a mistake out of the English defence. Cupid. That's going slightly astray beyond Whitley. Now Stern John is in, and David James having to save with his feet. As it turns out, it wouldn't have counted. The 31-year-old Stern John has a fabulous international goal-scoring record. There are only 7 players in the history of the game who've scored more at international level than Stern John. 67 goals he scored for his country, Shaka.
In 101 games. What a fantastic return that is. 1 shy of the legendary Gerd Muller.
Wayne Bridge was failing to keep it in.
Well, that was great play, wasn't it, from the home side? Not sure what the infringement was, whether there was an offside in there, but some nice one-touch pass in there. Good combination play in behind. Yeah, he's just offside, but a great shot.
This is Gerrard keeping it on the floor for Barry. Now the offside has come up against England as Downing. It's just beyond the last defender. Dean Ashton, who really caught the eye in that FA Cup final a couple of seasons ago. You were part of, Shaka, the 3-3 affair against Liverpool. He would have made his debut, incidentally, that August 2 years ago against Greece, but he broke his ankle in training with England. And this is his first chance to get back in the squad since then.
What a blow that was for Dean. He certainly was playing well.
This is Edwards, promising for Darryl Roberts. Woodgate away. Just hints that Trinidad are starting to find some inroads. Equally, though, England still looking more than capable of doing just that at the other end. Cycled wide to David Beckham. His cross thundered away by Dennis Lawrence. He'll be playing his football in the Championship next season and helps Swansea City to promotion. Now Defoe. Cupid just guiding it away with Downing lurking.
The problem as well they're having is that nobody's really putting any pressure on England players. We talked about them dropping off, but that also means that the midfield drop off and don't apply the correct pressure to the England players, and they finding so much time and space to deliver balls in, pick the passes, find the men. So easy.
Downing looking for a helpful bobble off the pitch, perhaps, but Clayton Ince had it covered.
What Trinidad and Tobago are missing in midfield is a leader. I think once we see Dwight York introduced eventually, which I think we can expect, I expect to see this team play a lot better with somebody who can be the focal point, somebody who can be the voice in midfield. They're just lacking that. Right now you have 18-year-old Highland, who is the brightest spark in that midfield, but just, you think, too young, a little bit too inexperienced to carry the team the way it should be, and certainly where everyone else needs.
There's Highland across to his midfield partner Whitley. Carrier back to Whitley. And the the final pass going astray, easily nipped at the bud by Wayne Bridge. And Defoe, side down. Dennis Lawrence claiming the Portsmouth man made the most of it.
Again, we see how deep this Trinidad and Tobago defence is playing. Breaks down on the top of the England box, and immediately the entire back four drops to within 10 yards of their own box. And the gaps are just too big. The likes of Jermaine Defoe will exploit that kind of space all day, every day.
So now Beckham another chance to go to work from a set piece. Easy for Instock. Quick throw out from the Walsall keeper to the feet of Keon Daniel. A couple of minutes remaining in the first half here at the Hasely Crawford Stadium. The centenary celebrations for the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. Remember, they became the smallest nation ever to qualify for a World Cup finals. Just 2 summers ago in Germany.
They're just struggling, aren't they, to make that forward ball. They're fairly neat and tidy in the midfield area, but when they're looking forward to the 2 strikers or the wide players, it's breaking down too easily for them, allowing England back onto the ball to make their passes. This is where I don't think there's much pressure. Look at the space he has down here to look up and find his men again. No pressure. Look at the time he has there, Defoe. He should have a defender really tie up his back there, making a challenge. All this time and space to pick out the runs in the spaces.
And Cooper dealing with the threat this time in the air. Edwards hidden back deep in his own half, but now there's an outlet. A release valve in Whitley.
It's a free kick given away there, but just notice how tight when that ball goes into the striker. Rio Ferdinand, I think it was that time, very, very tight, just trying to poke the ball away from the forward.
Some of the England substitutes hoping for their chance to shine in the second half, perhaps. Will Fabio Capello decide to experiment a little? With a look to the likes of Huddlestone and Wheater. Theo Walcott and Peter Crouch on the bench.
There'll be 1 minute. 1 minute of time added on to the end of the first half. 1 minute of time.
And the ball given away rather needlessly in the middle. And now Defoe offside this time.
But you're absolutely right, Robbie. Again, you see Stephen Gerrard pick that ball up 15 yards outside the Trinidad and Tobago box and put under no pressure. Allowed to pick a ball out to Jermaine Defoe, who just drifted offside.
This pass has worked its way through, but not the second one. Glenn Johnson shut off that avenue. Now England in transition.
I think they've got to be careful of England, just to get a little bit complacent. They are getting so much time. Just a couple of balls now. Beckham there. Downing before. Took the ball away.
Now that will do it for the first half. Here in Port of Spain. Trinidad, Shaka would say recovered their poise after the early shock of conceding 2 goals inside the first quarter of an hour. Much improved from that point on, but no inroads able to be made by them. They trail by 2-0 here against England. To capacity, Hasely Crawford Stadium here, 27,000 here to see the celebration of the Trinidad Football Association's centenary. Not too much to celebrate so far for the home crowd, though. They're trailing by 2-0 as we check in on the scoreboard, scorecentre.com scoreboard, other international friendlies. Good winning finish for the Netherlands in their preparation for Euro 2008. Not so for Sweden, though, who were booed off the pitch in losing 1-0 at home to Ukraine. Greece, the defending champions, getting a 0-0 draw in Armenia. And talking Speaking of CONCACAF for World Cup qualification, Guatemala going down to defeat to Panama by a 1-0. Trinidad 0, England 2 is our half-time score here. We'll be back with much more from the Hazley Crawford after these words. Well, welcome back. This is the scene in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Trinidad and Tobago 0, England 2. Adrian Healy with Shaka Hislop and Robbie Mustoe alongside. England will be on their summer holidays after this game. Of course, they didn't make it to the European Championships. That's what's up next on the calendar. What's your initial takes on the group? Robbie Mustoe, first of all, your thoughts on how the group draw panned out?
Well, obviously, if you look at Group C, that's the real tough group. I think France, Italy, I'm sure will be the favourites or part of the favourites. You've got to look at Germany as well, obviously. And I like the look of Spain as well in Group D. If you look at that, I know we keep saying this every tournament, but you look at their team on paper, it's very, very good. Fernando Torres, the main striker for them, and Iniesta and Xavi, and they got some wonderful players, Spain, you know. Maybe this is the time for them to really produce.
Shaka, your thoughts?
I think the Czech Republic would be a good bet. I think they'll be strong, and I actually have them down as being one of the tournament's finalists.
Interesting. You heard it here first. And of course, you can see full coverage of Euro 2008 right here on ESPN. Welcome back to Port of Spain in Trinidad and Tobago, where the home side are trailing England by 2-0. England's first ever footballing visit to the Caribbean, a successful one so far as we look back at the first half highlights. Adrian Healy with Robbie Mustoe and Shaka Hislop, and Robbie, the first chance came England's way just 6 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a fantastic first-time cross from David Beckham, a signature ball from him. And Defoe, I think, probably felt he should have scored that one.
And then Shaka, England went in front just 6 minutes later.
Yeah, it's far too easy for me. Downing into bridge, Barry arriving late with a well-timed finish. But again, the Trinidad and Tobago defence all at sea.
Wayne Bridge making the inroads. Gareth Barry arriving late. They were queuing up in the middle, really, Robbie.
Well, that's what you want. You want your two strikers in there and one of your midfield players right through the middle. It's a textbook run from a midfield player to score.
And then just 4 minutes later, another run through the middle by Jermaine Defoe. Produced a similar result.
A good finish by Jermaine, but again, finding way too much space. Trinidad and Tobago centre-halves, Dennis Lawrence and Macan Hislop, not at all in contact with each other. In the end, despite a bad touch, Jermaine Defoe with enough time to find the back of the net.
And in fact, Defoe had another pretty decent opportunity to 24 minutes, keeping this one on the ground. And then Trinidad got themselves back into the game, Shaka, finished strongly, and Darryl Roberts is the man who perhaps gave David James something to think about.
Well, it's his first save of any note at all, but easy enough for David James and not enough from Trinidad and Tobago for me.
So just the 8 shots in that first half, 5 of them from England. Possession, not that much disparity between the two sides, Robbie, in terms of who's had the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think it's more than that. I'm not a big fan of these statistics. I mean, England really have dominated possession, have got in behind Trinidad and Tobago as well, as we've talked about too many times, really.
And just the one booking in that first half as well. That went to Stephen Gerrard. The Soca Warriors celebrating their centenary. They're going to celebrate one way or the other here tonight, that's for sure, but they are trailing on the scoreboard by 2-0. The second half is next. Welcome back to Port of Spain in Trinidad for our coverage of this international friendly on ESPN. Trinidad and Tobago 0, England 2 is our half-time score. Adrian Healy with Robbie Mustoe and former Trinidad goalkeeper Shaka Hislop alongside for this one. Fabio Capello with his fourth game in charge of England, sticking to pretty much a tried and trusted formula. And what do you imagine the message might have been from Capello at half-time, Robbie?
Well, I think he's got to be telling the players not to kind of go down too many gears. Obviously, it looks like it's a comfortable game for England, but I don't want to see the England players slowing down, being sloppy with their passing, giving up any chances or anything. They've got to keep a high tempo here and almost be ruthless and try and score more goals.
This is where we have to get our notepads out to try and keep track of what's going on. Wholesale substitutions seem to be the order of the day, with Peter Crouch, Phil Jagielka and Joe Hart certainly coming on for second half action. Often during the reign of Sven-Göran Eriksson, he was criticised for making wholesale changes in friendlies, but I always wondered, if you can't do them in friendlies, when can you do them?
Well, they're in the squad, aren't they? They've been training with the England players for the last 10 or 11 days or whatever. They'll be itching to get on the field, and it's great for Phil Jagielka now to get his opportunity in an England shirt.
Yes, he will be another debutant, as will Joe Hart in goal. Manchester City stopper, the 21-year-old. Peter Crouch, a more familiar figure. And there will be some switches for the home side too. I can see outside Telesford getting ready for action. So here is Joe Hart. What a moment for him. On loan at Tranmere Rovers and Blackpool last year before becoming Manchester City's first choice keeper back in September. And Phil Jagielka on to make his England debut after a very solid season in the Premier League with Everton. David Bentley, thought of by many people as the natural successor long-term to David Beckham. And Peter Crouch is getting an interesting reception from the crowd. I'm sure they remember his goal past you, Shaka, in the World Cup finals.
The fans would have been looking forward to his inclusion for some time. Just a voice there that disapproval of his first goal some 2 years ago.
Meanwhile, Kareem Smith is coming on for Trinidad. He's a player who was actually born in Boston and has played actually for the US at under 18 level, switched to Trinidad at the under 20 level. And Telesford has come on as well. So we're underway, with England now going from left to right. It was a season that started for them back in August with a home defeat to Germany at Wembley Stadium. That was Steve McLaren still in charge, and hope still very high of qualifying for Euro 2008. And how that went so badly wrong over the course of the autumn.
And number 13, Kareem Smith. And now we have the songs of the Laventera.
Looking to end on a positive note. All eyes on the September date with Andorra as the road to South Africa starts in earnest. Just confirmation of all the switches. Ashton has seen his night end to make way for Peter Crouch.
I think he'd be keen to do very well, only Crouch. He's been sitting on the bench for such a long time under Capello, not really having any opportunities, very few. Be keen to do well, hopefully score a goal in this game.
He scored more goals, Robbie, under Steve McLaren than anyone else in an England shirt. 7 of them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we don't kind of talk about Peter Crouch being the strike partner for Wayne Rooney, but why not? He scored goals. He's a good target man. He gives you that extra something. Got a good touch for a big guy, but also strong in the air. So he's got his chance, opportunity tonight to really stake his claim.
Well, will he get a chance? Dwight York continuing to look on.
I'd like to see him involved. I have to say I was a little bit sceptical, if not mystified, by his inclusion, his late inclusion. But this Trinidad and Tobago team sure desperately needs a leader in midfield.
Would it be a one-off, though, Shaka, if he were to come back?
I think so.
Tonight.
I do. I think so. I think it would be more a testament to his own career in England than any hint of a return to international football for Dwight.
Peter Crouch moving chase, but tidied up by Kareem Smith. Falls again for Crouch. Here's it again from the crowd. Farrier on the near side. Farrier actually plays for the University of Southern Connecticut. Doesn't even play professional club football collegiately in the United States. He's playing his second game after making his debut against Barbados. That was Trinidad's last game. It's a 3-0 win. Here's Defoe linking with Gerrard. Johnson onto Bentley. David Bentley serving it in invitingly, and Defoe is there. An easy finish for the Portsmouth man. It was Bentley who made it all possible with the approach work. And Defoe with the sweet finish.
Well, yeah, nothing really difficult or complicated about this move. Same old story, if you like. Lots of time here. Bentley just shifts it to the side. Very easy, plenty of time. Again, a great crosser of the ball, just like Beckham. Crouch is the target, does well, makes the challenge here. And it falls very, very nicely, you have to say, for Defoe. Makes no mistake, though.
Again, we have Crouch at the centre of another controversial challenge. I think realistically, we trying to be less of a claim of a foul of that one. Too easily done, though. Crouch all over the unfortunate Kareem Smith, winning only his second cap.
Yeah, the ball actually came back off Smith, didn't it? Shaka, and right into the path of Defoe.
It did. Kareem Smith certainly no match for a player of Crouch's stature.
So Jermaine Defoe, who arrived here tonight having scored just 3 goals in his stop-start England career. He's added another 2 to that. To have burst on the scene when he scored a very important goal in Poland. World Cup qualifying for England. That was back in 2004. Been in and out of the side. Famously left behind at World Cup 2006 for Walcott as Gerrard gets into the area. No finish this time from the Liverpool man.
Gerrard just drifts out of his hole in midfield, past Osei Telesford, who tried to make up the ground. A third goal coming at a time where I just started to like the shape of Trinidad and Tobago a bit more with Telesford's inclusion, who plays a little bit deeper, has a lot more energy, providing that link between the defence and midfield that was so sorely missed in the first half.
Telesford, who plays professionally in Puerto Rico, plays for the Puerto Rico Islanders. Play in the United States second division, or the equivalent thereof. So just the one man up front now for Trinidad, Stern John. But they lost Kenwyn Jones very early on in this game. A collision with David James.
Just trying to stiffen up midfield. Adrian in there now, realising with England's superiority in there, and need to make a few challenges really in that area.
Fabio Capello has seen England score 3 under him for the first time tonight. 2-1. He won against Switzerland in his first game in charge. 2-0 against the United States just this past Wednesday. A low drive, which had Joe Hart somewhat concerned. Joe Hart behind Scott Carson in the under-21 England side pecking order, the Euro finals last year. He's behind Kasper Schmeichel in the Manchester City pecking order right at the start of the season. Hislop getting the ball away. This was Joe Hart's view at the previous shot. Highland didn't quite catch hold of it, Shagger.
But it certainly showed a lot of confidence by the 18-year-old.
Oh, it's Defoe who's on a hat-trick now, and he's just jabbed his effort wide after more inventiveness from Steven Gerrard.
Seemed to take a touch which bubbled slightly. In the end, having to try to get his shot away quickly. Claims a corner. Not sure if it was. But again, too easy, where the England players are just being given far too much time, far too much room in every area of the pitch.
Good run again, though, from Steven Gerrard with a clever leave to Defoe there. And really, Gerrard's just strolling around in the midfield area. He hasn't really got to raise a sweat or make a few runs forward to try and make things happen in front of goal, but really is very easy almost for these England players now.
It is way too easy, way too easy. You think that a change of tactics by Maturana at half-time would force a little bit more out of this Trinidad and Tobago team, with Telesford being the link between a midfield which is now pushed slightly higher up the pitch. Carlos Edwards, Kieran Daniel, both playing a lot closer to Stern John in the front line, but still no pressure being put on the ball. As we see again, England stroking it around. Gerrard in acres of space.
Now it's Bentley marauding forward with Johnson outside. He headed infield instead, the Blackburn man, and ran into congestion. Nicely done in midfield for Trinidad, but the final pass is just overhit as Ashley Young awaits his chance.
I don't know what you think, Shaka, but it just seems to me that the players are feeling like this is a friendly game. They're not really wanting to get stuck in. I want to see a big challenge from a player. They've got their home crowd here. I want to see a big tackle, a big challenge to try and shake up these England players.
I think we all do, and it's all well and good saying this is a friendly and we can take it easy. We've already had one player go down. But again, there's a World Cup qualifier to come in 2 weeks' time. They have one more friendly left to go before that qualifier. And it's a chance for them to start getting ready, getting really ready and prepared for what will be a tough time over the next few months. You expect them to get through fairly easily against Bermuda, fingers crossed. But to go any further, they'll have to be so much better than they've shown here this evening.
Oh, now a chance to move forward. It's ended prematurely as Whitley was obstructed.
I mean, it's a fact that these are top players. They're earning mega millions, these England players. And they've certainly got more quality than Trinidad and Tobago. But you just think the home side would just, you know, there's no, I don't know, excuse for not giving that extra bit of desire, that hunger, that work rate, just to try and upset these England players a little bit more.
It's just been far too easy for England for me. No matter where you pick the ball up, be it outside your own box, be it 10 yards outside the Trinidad and Tobago box, Team Gerrard seems to be in 10 yards of room, and that's no excuse. Because it's Team Gerrard, he's allowed to pick the ball up with that kind of room. And again, we see, look how easy it is. Look at Crouch here again in room to do as he likes. And It's too easy to say that these are all world-class players.
Oh, Crouch, Defoe, Crouch! That was a wonderful move. England really unzipped the Trinidad defence there. A series of short passes, and Crouch seeing his effort saved by Ince.
It was great play, you know. Again, another clever leave. Look at that, great play. First time ball back through him. Couldn't really get any purchase on his shot. It's a good save from Clayton Ince.
It's a good run by Peter Crouch. We were just talking about him finding room right on the half line, linked up with Gerrard, got past him, and then the final pass from Defoe really should have found the back of the net.
Well, Bentley, quite what he was achieving or aiming for from the corner. Following suit, Steven Gerrard on the follow-up. Now trying to ignite the crowd, and his sign, Carlos Edwards, dancing through a couple of tackles. But Smith really overhitting. Pass geared towards Edwards.
Carlos Edwards had made a good run forward down the right-hand side. John laid the ball back to Smith, but again, the occasion seemed to be just a little bit too much for the young and inexperienced Kareem Smith.
Smiles on the England bench with the old guard. Was asking too much for Keon Daniel to keep it in. He had a goal on his debut back in March for Trinidad against El Salvador.
Good run forward by Ose Telesford early on, who I have to say I certainly like the look of. It's the second time I've seen him play over recent months, and the Trinidad and Tobago team just looks different with him on the pitch.
David Beckham, of course, in contrast to the rest of the England squad, is in mid-season form. He'll be heading back to the Los Angeles Galaxy as soon as this game is done. The rest of the English squad off on their summer holidays. We are watching Euro 2008 unfold as spectators. Crouch, fine pass for Bentley. That's the inside track, and, well, was he going for goal there, David Bentley?
I'm not sure if he was, but certainly caught Clayton Ince out with another mishit cross.
What do you think of Bentley, Robbie? He is touted as the long-term successor, perhaps, to David Beckham, the most natural replacement, perhaps, in terms of his skill set.
His skill set, absolutely natural replacement, but, you know, there's other skill sets that can work on a right-hand side. Aaron Lennon of Spurs, I particularly like. He's gone right off the board or out of the picture for England, but a different sort of player that can run at defenders. David Bentley is very similar to Beckham. He's a nice footballer. He's very good with the ball, good with the link-up play, great crosses. But I don't know, Beckham's still here, isn't he? Still in the picture, and maybe it's because there isn't anybody out there that's a whole lot better than him. And I don't know, I just like to see more of an attacking, more of a dribbling player in the England lineup. Like a Joe Cole, maybe somebody who can actually beat players. Because I think on the top stage against the best European sides, that's where we struggle to really get past and break down these great European defences.
I agree with you, Robbie. Again, I had a long look at the England-USA game, and Bentley came in for Beckham in that one. And just didn't seem, the team seemed to lack something. He doesn't have the presence that David Beckham does on the pitch. He is full of running, full of skill, but in the end, too short on end product. And I do feel it's calling out for someone else. Joe Cole, I do say I have to like the look of. Is he the man to fill that right-hand spot? I think time will tell. Lennon, of course, again.
It's the cross to the near post, which is dealt with by Gareth Barry at the expense of a corner. And one of Barry's teammates, Gabriel Agbonlahor, is another who's mentioned as a long-term possibility down the right-hand side. He's still, of course, awaiting his first cap for England. Certainly a couple of great seasons in the Premier League.
Absolutely, and he also can play as a striker, so he's another potential partner for Rooney.
Crouch forced to bail out Joe Hart, who was temporarily stranded from the corner kick there. Peter Crouch getting the job done in his own penalty area as well as the opposition one.
got to say as well, Crouch has done better, hasn't he, than Dean Ashton. Dean Ashton saw very little of the ball really in the first half. He's got to be disappointed that he's come off. I'm sure he'd have liked to play a lot more in this game, particularly as it is an easy game for England. And Crouch has come on and done very well.
What Peter Crouch has done, he's drifted into a lot more areas on the pitch than Dean Ashton does. There's space all over, all amongst this Trinidad and Tobago back four to be exploited, and Crouch has just tried to do that.
Gerrard was the intended target. Swallowed up by the Trinidad defence. It's Talisford who tries to lead them forward here.
So that's good pressure. See the pressure there from the midfield player in England. Makes it difficult for the opponents to try and win the ball, or certainly play it forward under that sort of pressure.
That was Woodgate on Stern John, and again you see Gareth Barry up against Otis Whitley, well into the Trinidad and Tobago half. On the other hand, look at Stephen Gerrard pick up this ball here. And acres of room, it seems.
And a rare miscue from the Liverpool man. Now this is more promising for Trinidad. Stern John just beaten to the punch there by Ferdinand. Until Jagielka actually got the decisive touch. Jagielka rewarded for a very consistent season with Everton. Moved from Sheffield United last summer. Now offside. As Crouch couldn't check his run. Still hearing it. I guess his goal past Juszczyk was not that popular.
No, it wasn't.
In this part of the world.
We have pretty long memories as well in this part of the world.
Ashley Young now playing on the left-hand side for England. Another player, another potential wide player for England. It really is. The place is up for grabs for England. There's certainly isn't. It's not a situation where you can say a team picks itself for England. There's lots of possibilities, and that's why Capello's trying everybody. He's just trying to formulate his opinions on all the different options he has, ready for these qualifiers in September.
Crouch putting it about, but penalised for the high foot, it appears, by referee Enrico Vingard. 14 goals in 27 internationals is Peter Crouch's scoring record, more than a goal every other game. People might use the argument that yes, it's times come against sides like Greece and Jamaica and Hungary, but still got the ball, put the ball in the back of the net, Robbie.
Yeah, I think any international goal is, you know, it's worthy. You know, I don't think you can go. Crikey, I would love to have scored an international goal, any kind of international goal.
I think a goal every other game is a great record at any level, regardless of who it's against.
Imagine if Crouch does become available this summer, which looks more and more likely, that there'll be no shortage of takers for him in the English Premier League.
He does have a good record, and he is a handful. He is hard to play against. And like you say, I think there are quite a few clubs who'd love to have him on their books.
I think for him, though, he's got to pick the right move. If he does get a move in the summer, he's got to get the right club. I suppose it's going to be the clubs that's just in behind these four. I'd be looking at the likes of Villa, Everton, Spurs, that kind of group of Premiership clubs to go to.
Well, Villa is one of those clubs that have been mentioned. Portsmouth, another possibility. Two of his former clubs, actually. No Caribbean team has yet scored against England. Can Trinidad buck that trend? In closing stages here, they got a chance. Joe Hart is out, and well, Phil Jagielka forced to mop up. A set piece that caused momentary panic at the back for the English.
Hart has a couple of times now been caught in relative no man's land.
And perhaps Trinidad sniffing an opportunity here from a set piece. Edwards finding Lawrence. And Hart struggling to get there for a crowd of players. Gus Edwards. Should they keep it alive? And the young Manchester City goalkeeper just looking a little nervy.
Under pressure from Stern around that time. The ball falling kindly to Macan Hislop, who snatched at his effort.
Continues to be a potential problem area for England, Shaka. I don't know what your take is on the England goalkeeper situation. David James is back at the top of the pile.
And I think rightfully so. He had a fantastic season for Portsmouth in the Premier League, as he did in the FA Cup. But after that, you think of Scott Carson coming through, but does he have the international experience, the international quality to fill David's shoes? I'm not sure. And on Hart's early showing, I don't know if he's the man either. Not just yet, certainly.
Well, he wasn't tested that time. Shot from distance by Stern John. It is a worry, though, Robbie, isn't it? It must be for Fabio Capello. If something happens to David James, I mean, James is 37.
Yeah, it's a worry. I mean, I agree with Shaka. I think he's the #1 choice right now. Very good shot stopper, a real presence in goal. I think the criticisms levelled over David James really is just his decision-making sometimes, where he comes off his line. Sometimes he comes, sometimes he doesn't. I suppose it's a big part of it, isn't it? The decision-making as a goalkeeper is a huge part of that art.
I think he's got that right more times than not over recent years. He certainly has seemed to settle down in that respect, and I think his game has flourished as a result. We don't see the mad rushes that we've kind of grew accustomed to with David James.
Well, Theo Walcott, in case it escaped your attention, has just come on to win his second English cap. His first appearance since May of 2006, one of those pre-World Cup warm-up games against Hungary. It's the only other time we've seen Theo Walcott in the full national side. He's replaced Jermaine Defoe.
It's good to see him. Electric pace, hasn't he, Theo Walcott? He's normally played on the wing for England. Sometimes he's had an opportunity. He's going to play up the middle this time, though. Try and use that pace in behind.
He has been in superb form for the under-21 side under Stuart Pearce. Pretty good season, breakout season in many ways for Walcott at Arsenal, especially in the latter half of the campaign.
Reminds you so much of a young Michael Owen when he first burst onto the scene with Liverpool and England. That pace, it's just so difficult for anyone to play up against.
And it was 10 summers ago, 1998 in the World Cup, when Owen first sprang to prominence. Amazing to think. Minutes remaining at Hazley Crawford Stadium. Stadium named for the first Trinidadian ever to win Olympic gold. Phil Jagielka may not win too many sprints, but effective clearance there. Smith delivering the ball. Johnson removing the danger. Walcott latching on for his first touch. Gerrard able to shrug off a couple of challenges. Not the third one, though. It was a prior infringement. Free kick to England.
Bentley's come over to get involved in this one. Surely it's too far out for a direct shot, I would think.
He has He's produced some stunning free kicks through his short career so far. That's more of a setup job, though, for Crouch, who's knocked down. Latched onto by Ince.
Just like the quality, haven't they, Trinidad and Tobago, just to try and get that breakthrough. That combination pass, that final ball in, the cross or through ball, just haven't really managed that quality against a very tight and experienced England back four.
Smith was being impeded there by Gareth Barry. Kareem Smith. Finding Highland. Highland onto the return pass. Couldn't work it back against the grain. And, well, here he comes. Dwight York is about to enter the fray, wearing his traditional number 19. Who actually officially retired from international football as long ago as 2004. Shaqiri had a farewell game and then came out of retirement once in the surge to the World Cup finals. You were saying it's not going to happen again.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just become a little bit too much for Dwight now. Probably doesn't have the energy or the enthusiasm to make those long trips back to Trinidad and Tobago for those almost incessant World Cup qualifiers. But players of his quality will always be sorely missed by countries such as small as ours. We don't produce them with any type of regularity.
It's fallen here for Bentley. Gerrard in support. Bentley declining that option, delivering the left foot cross towards Crouch. Got up and won the header. Quarter of an hour remaining. Question is, who is going to make way for Dwight York? It's going to be a double switch as well. Listen to the reception. The loudest noise of the night by some considerable margin, greeting the arrival of Dwight York.
Deservedly so. What a great player he was, or certainly his time at Man United and before that Aston Villa. Wonderfully talented forward, great awareness, skill, goal scorer, creator. Always plays with a smile on his face. Wonderful, wonderful player.
I think that's what people remember most about Dwight, his approach to the game. Professional, but still seemed to enjoy it so much. And of course, he wrote his name into the Trinidad and Tobago history books by captaining this team to the World Cup, their first ever appearance at the World Cup, and did it so in similar fashion to his time at Manchester United, with a seemingly incessant smile on his face, a true enjoyment for the game.
York getting his first touch. Still, of course, playing at the very highest level right to the end of this season just ended in England with Sunderland. Roy Keane Brought him back into the top flight. It's just a quick confirmation of the other switch with Kevin Connell coming on for Keon Daniel. Now you're reasonably close to Dwight Shaka. I don't know if you can tell us anything about his next move. Where he might play any further football, if indeed he will play further football.
And I'll be very honest with you, that's still up in the air. He's was a little bit hopeful of staying on with Sunderland. That didn't materialise, and now I think he's taken this summer off to relax, recharge, and see what opportunities open up to him.
Stern John has also made way for Gerald Forbes. Of course, had that wonderful sojourn down to Australia just for a season, but really ignited things in the A-League for Sydney FC.
He would have loved to return to Australia. He certainly enjoyed his time down there. Dwight is the kind of guy who would enjoy his time anyway, as long as he's allowed to play football, you feel.
Young for England, who've been thoroughly in the comfort zone since the opening quarter of an hour. They got themselves 2 goals in front. Gareth Barry on the ball now. Open the scoring. It's Young who's the outlet this time. Can't find a way around Kareem Smith. I wonder if England might have made the electric start they did had Kareem Smith been on the pitch at that stage, Robbie. He's tightened things up out there.
He absolutely has. His positional sense is certainly a lot better than Cupid's. Defending there, we saw him getting a good tackle in there. Much better. Also, Telesford coming into midfield, as Shaka mentioned. Done a good job. He's been available for the ball a lot.
Keep in mind as well, both England's opening 2 goals came down that left-hand side for England, the right-hand side for Trinidad and Tobago. You do wonder if Kareem Smith and McCann Hislop would have been the better partnership to start with.
Fabio Capello on the edge of his technical area as he enters the last 10 minutes of the season for England. Starting to plot for August, and now 1 remaining friendly against the Czech Republic. Only at Wembley. There's Jack Warner. Very powerful man in the world of football, Shagger, Jack Warner, and there are those that would say that this game is happening because England really need Jack's support in terms of potential World Cup bid in 2018.
There are quite a few seeing that. Probably rightly so. But who am I to say? But he has a...
Very diplomatic.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. But he certainly has as worried a look as I do on his face right now.
I suppose maybe the cynics in England might say that, you know, having the England players together for such a long period of time was a good thing, and could they have done with a more competitive game to test the guys at this particular part of the season? Maybe the English papers tomorrow will say, too easy, waste of time, why did we go there? I don't know. I just, you know, we're desperate to do well in England and get through these qualifiers, and any time the England team are together, we want them to have great training sessions and real tough competitive games, and you have to say this hasn't been that.
But you have to think that there is a long period off now, and probably it is a good idea just to have a little bit of a get-together, a little bit of a run-out, as it were.
Oh, here comes Walcott. Clayton Ince to use his head outside his own penalty area, and did so very effectively.
Like we were saying, Robbie, I think the serious stuff can start back in a couple of months' time.
Yeah.
When they started preparing in this. This is a little bit of a holiday, a little bit of a run out for the lads, no more, and probably the right game, and probably Fabio Capello was right in his thinking in that respect. Of course, I am biased because I think it's a great opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to witness some of the world's best.
How much regret will there be, do you think, on the likes of Steven Gerrard and Rio Ferdinand on their summer holidays, have to watch Euro 2008 from afar on TV screens?
Well, I think there'll be huge regret about what happened and how they're not there. But it's the same for the English fans, and I'm an English fan, and I'm going to be devastated, really, that there's a European Championships and we're not in it.
By the same token, though, Rafa Benitez and Sir Alex Ferguson would be delighted they've had the summer off. For once, it seems. Football seems to be a 12-month-a-year sport nowadays, and I know club managers are happy that their players are having a very welcome break.
Trinidad, as we mentioned, will play on, but it's till the end of June as they look to start their own World Cup qualifying campaign. It's time for another England debutant in Stephen Warnock now. Come on at left back in place of Wayne Bridge. Blackburn Rovers player as the corner comes in. Warnock making his debut at the age of 26. He had 6 years with Liverpool, never really established himself as a first-team regular there. Made 40 appearances for the Reds, but switched to Blackburn and only missed 1 game last season in the Premier League.
Yeah, we talked about this game and the validity of it, if you like, but, you know, try and tell them that to Stephen Warnock and Dean Ashton. The guys have made their debuts. Jagielka, fantastic, proud moment for those players as well, and I'm sure they're very, very pleased that England have agreed this game.
Through all the changes, Barry and Gerrard have remained in place. Centre of the English midfield, perhaps rather tellingly. Is that going to be the first choice partnership for Fabio Capello come the fall? Where does Frank Lampard fit into the picture? Of course, is always the perennial question.
Yeah, I think he's got to fit into the picture. I think Gerrard will probably play on the left-hand side as the United States game. Maybe Joe Cole on the right-hand side, Hargreaves and Lampard in the centre, Rooney with another up top. That's probably would be my preferred option. You've got Gerrard on one side, Joe Cole on the other side, players that can really attack and create things. 2 good midfield players, and certainly Lampard with the forward threat.
Promising situation undone there by Connell's heavy first touch. Mr. Hazley Crawford. A seat permanently reserved for him in the stadium.
So it should be. 100-metre gold medal in 1976. When an ambassador for not only athletics, but certainly Trinidad and Tobago over the years.
What's your take, Shaka, on the Lampard-Gerrard conundrum? It's one that's so talked about in England over the years. It still is.
I actually prefer to see Steve Gerrard play up the middle. And I think at times...
This is Walcott going up the middle himself. Oh, and it's almost spilled by Clayton Ince, but he held on with Crouch ready to pounce.
Walcott seemed to fluff his finish somewhat slightly, as did Ince in his initial attempted save. Good recovery, though.
Trinidad looking to give the crowd something to cheer about, and that was an excellent opportunity to do just that. Whitley ballooning his efforts.
Yes, Otis Whitley. It was normally quite an accomplished finisher for Otis Whitley. Doesn't have a lot of goals to show for it, but technically quite good. Certainly made a hash of that one.
Did it bobble up a little, Robbie?
I think it did a little bit, but that'll probably go down as their best opportunity, I think, in the game. Plenty of time there to try and pick his spot, just trying to side foot it into the corner there.
This was the Walcott run, just prior to that. Bobble, helping him get right past Dennis Lawrence. As you said, Shanker, a good recovery by Clayton Ince.
It was, but a disappointing error by Dennis Lawrence, who I feel really should be the leader in this central defence, in this back four in its entirety. But his first game back at international level since 2006, and he hasn't looked as accomplished as he did some 2 years ago. When you think back to our brief spell in Germany, where he really was outstanding for Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, who could forget that memorable draw against Sweden and the rearguard action that you were part of, and Dennis Lawrence just looked like nothing was going to get past him that day.
And you think of the players on that day up against, and players not of that quality, but still has seemed to struggle somewhat this afternoon. As I say, he has been out of the international game for 2 years, and maybe that's taken its toll on him. Hopefully he can refine his old form before too long.
This is Bentley onto Crouch. Well, a little flourish from Clayton Ince. He started life as a defender, Shaka Clayton Ince. Perhaps he was having a little flashback there.
Never been shy to be a little bit dramatic, shall we say. And certainly having his moment in the bright lights with that chest trap effort.
They're closing in on stoppage time for Spain. Stephen Gerrard picking up the pass, sending Ashley Young on his way. Young with the cut back and the shot, and Ince remembering how to be a goalkeeper there. A sprightly save from the 35-year-old.
Certainly was very well done. He certainly is an accomplished shot stopper, you have to say. Showing it again here, down to his right.
Good hit though from Ashley Young.
It was good skill, good movement to create space for that shot as well. Good play from him.
Had a very good season indeed with Aston Villa. With Ashley Young as Bentley bends in the corner towards Crouch. Crouch, who scored a hat-trick against Caribbean opposition in Jamaica. Build up to the 2006 World Cup. Farrier. This long ball easily cut out by Jagielka.
The game's really just slowed now, hasn't it? Ready for the end of the game, all the substitutions, the scoreline. This means it's very, very slow, lethargic play now.
Walcott and Young. Part of England's future. Building for that future. Continues in August and September. It's the road to South Africa in 2010. Begins actually in Barcelona, where England will face Andorra at Espanyol's home stadium. Fabio Capello's first competitive game in charge. A group that contains Croatia, of course, Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan as well, Robbie.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Croatia caused us the heartache in the Euro qualification. A chance for England to redeem themselves, really. You have to say it's not a tough group. Should be fine. We should got to look to win this group strongly.
Side against Connell. Shaka, what's your feeling on Trinidad's prospects repeating that marvellous feat of 2 years ago and reaching the World Cup finals again in South Africa?
It's an uphill task at best, the way this is looking. But in fairness to Maturana, and I think he will be judged on whether we qualify or not. This is a very young team for Trinidad and Tobago. You look at Mac and Hislop 22, Farrier 21, Highland 18. So it's a work in progress, shall we call it.
Well, they've gone down to a defeat here tonight, the first one of his reign, and a result that was never really in any doubt after the first quarter of an hour. Steven Gerrard playing a full role here tonight, not on the scoreboard though. Jermaine Defoe with 2 and Gareth Barry with the other, and a 3-0 win for England. We'll be right back. The Soca Warriors centenary, marked by the visit of England to their first ever trip to the Caribbean, and a comfortable enough win for Fabio Cabello's men in the final reckoning. 3-0 the margin of victory. Adrian Healy with Robbie Mustoe and Shaka Hislop. But our final thoughts on the game. Shaka, for Trinidad, first of all, any lessons to be taken from this one as we look back through the highlights?
Yes, certainly. We see it in the first 2 goals. Played far too deeply defensively, allowed players far too much room. You get punished every time for it. Jermaine Defoe, they really should have done better, but it was just a warning of things to come.
And Robbie, it didn't take England long to get their noses in front. Well-worked goal when it arrived, though.
Yeah, it was. Just a simple run in behind the fullback. You have to say it's a great run from Gareth Barry. Arrives right in the right place, right in between those 2 strikers. Very difficult to pick up. That's the key, though. That ball over the top, gets in behind the defence. The precious land. Great ball. And here he comes, right in the centre. Great finish.
Gareth Barry notching his first international goal. And just 4 minutes later, it was Jermaine Defoe with his 4th, putting England 2-up.
Again, though, Jermaine Defoe in acres of room, defence all at sea, not in touch with each other. Actually has a pretty bad first touch, Jermaine. But there's so much room, he just readjusts and finds the bottom corner with the left foot.
Well, Defoe was in the mood in the first half, for sure. Tried his luck from further out this time. No beating ints from that sort of range. And then Trinidad, perhaps with their best spell of the game, Robbie, the latter stages of the first half.
Glimpses of good skill, you know, at times. Certainly in the midfield area here. Carlos Edwards lays it back. It's a good shot, but you have to say it's a comfortable save for David James.
So England went in 2 goals to the good, and it very quickly became 3 early on in the second half. It was Jermaine Defoe was on the end of the move. Simple enough finish, Shagger.
It certainly was. Again, Bentley picking up the ball, finding too much space on the right, picking out Crouch. Jermaine Defoe just drifting into all sorts of room for an easy finish.
Well, we saw some good work from Highland in the middle for Trinidad throughout tonight. The young 18-year-old trying his luck against Joe Hart, who'd come on at the start of the second half in goal for England. The action switching to the other end. This is a flowing move for England with Crouch and Defoe combining nicely.
They certainly did. A clever over, 1-2, good combination play. That's what you get when you play 2 strikers up there together, and that's what I particularly like, instead of the 1 striker, which you see so much now in modern football.
And then a cross from David Bentley, which almost turned into a shot. It's drifting beyond the far post. Theo Walcott came on for a cameo role inside the final 10 minutes and immediately put his pace to good work. Ball getting away from Dennis Lawrence there.
And really, Theo Walcott fluffed his initial finish. As did Clayton Ince with his initial save. The follow-up was quick and well done by Clayton Ince, though.
Peter Crouch have been hearing it from the crowd all night long. And the crowd responding to Clayton Ince. A piece of improvisation, shall we say. Final shot of the game coming from Ashley Young, and it's a more orthodox save this time.
He certainly is a good shot stopper, Clayton Ince. He showed that this evening, showed that throughout his career. Does have a penchant for the dramatic, though.
Well, neither of the sides that we saw tonight will be in action in Euro 2008. No surprise for Trinidad, of course, but a little more surprising from the England perspective. But Shaka, you said you fancied the Czech Republic as an outside bet.
I do. They certainly have a good squad, certainly produce good players. Sometimes don't deliver when expected.
Robbie.
And the same could be seen of Robbie's choice, Spain.
Exactly. If you were a betting man, Robbie, I know you're not, but if you were, who would your money be on?
France. I like the look of Spain, but I think France are particularly impressive against England. They've got some great young players. You know, Benzema, watch out for him, young striker. I think they can go all the way, France.
And Euro 2008 begins in just a week's time, slightly less, in fact. Saturday, it all kicks off in Switzerland and Austria. It'll be one of the host nations who gets the tournament underway against the Czech Republic. Shaka's tip for the title. Group A is what launches the tournament. You can see the entire tournament here on ESPN. Of course, depending on the area of the world in which you're watching. Check your local listings for all the details on that. The second game on opening day is certainly an enticing one. Portugal. You know, too many people talk about them as potential dark horses. They're always dark horses, aren't they, Shaka?
They always are, and you certainly think of the form that Cristiano Ronaldo has been in this season. This is another team littered with talent. Always seem to falter at the final hurdle, though. Is this their time?
They open up against Turkey, Robbie.
Yeah, again, plenty of good players. Nani, Ronaldo, again, good players. But for me, it's going to be Spain or France.
We shall see our entire tournament here on ESPN. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of this international friendly as Trinidad move on and have World Cup qualification in their sights. They begin play against Bermuda in just a couple of weeks' time. England, well, they're off on their summer holidays now and will resume in August against the Czech Republic, and then World Cup qualifying opening up in September against Andorra. That does it. The final score, once again, Trinidad 0, England 3 here in Port of Spain. It was a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information on all our football programming, you can go to ESPNsoccernet.com. It's been my real pleasure to have both Robbie Mustoe and Shaka Hislop on board for this one. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. From me, Adrian Healy, it's goodbye for now.